Hello, welcome back to Unit 6 Academic Writing. We are going to see the second part of academic writing, that is academic style, academic integrity and proofreading. So, in the first part of this unit we have seen the punctuation marks. Now, let us take these three topics one by one. First, we will see academic style. The term refers to the style adopted in writing academic essays, project papers, journal articles and dissertations or thesis, and also research project. So, whenever we are writing an academic paper, we are supposed to follow a particular style, and that is called academic style. Academic writing is more formal and is different from informal writings like newspaper articles and magazine essays. So, we know academic writing is not like any other writing what you find in the newspaper or magazines. They have much more high standard. So, we are supposed to follow certain styles which provides us with certain guidelines. Academic writing needs to follow some stylistic rules and regulations apart from using formal language. So, formal language is a must. Besides, we also need to follow certain styles or rules regarding stylistic writing. Then we have documenting the sources. So, whenever we quote somebody or when we take or borrow other people's ideas or materials, we are supposed to acknowledge that. That is the meaning of documenting the sources. And we also have two different styles of documentation, we will see later. Stylistic consistency decides the quality of an academic work. Here, stylistic consistency means using a particular style throughout your writing. We should follow any one of the styles of documentation perfectly. So, along with stylistic consistency, we also have documenting. Documentation styles are different, they vary depending on your discipline. So, which discipline you are taking, whether you are writing for the field of science or literature, depending on that we have to choose the academic style or documentation style. Writers from liberal arts and humanities usually prefer MLA style. So, liberal arts and humanities, they prefer MLA style, and those from social science and science follow APA style. MLA style and APA style are two documentation style guides commonly followed in academic writing. So, usually you find two styles, they are MLA style and APA style. Different disciplines use different documentation styles, as we have seen earlier. Parenthetical or in-text citation or quoting and works cited or bibliography or references are the two kinds of documentation employed in academic writing. So, we will see some examples of parenthetical or in-text citation and also works cited or bibliography or references. They are all different ways of acknowledging external sources which you borrow or which you quote. Now, types of documentation. There are mainly two types of documentation. First one is parenthetical documentation or in-text documentation. It means that as you are writing, along with your writing, you are quoting in brackets. That is in-text documentation. That means it is part of your text. It is not referring at the end of the book or writing. It is along with that. For example, you take a material from somebody and immediately after that sentence or paragraph you are giving the acknowledgement in brackets. Like an example, Yarkar 11 to 12, that is the name of the author, and also the page numbers, that is 11 and 12. So immediately after the quotation you are giving this reference. That's why it is called in text documentation. Second one is works cited or references and bibliography which you find at the end of the paper. So whenever you are reading a book, if you go back to the last pages, you find the appendix given. They are actually the references given. Like in the example, Veena, RSP, 1970, Drugs and School Children, Longman, London. So we have got the name of the writer, the year of publishing, and the name of the article along with the publishers. Now we come to the first style, that is MLA style. MLA is a style guide for academic writing, and MLA is developed by Modern Language Association. So that is the full form of MLA, that is Modern Language Association. The MLA style guide is widely used by writers and researchers in academic writing. So mostly this is the style used by researchers and writers. And let us see the guidelines given by MLA. What are the topics on which they give guideline? First one is regarding text formatting, how the text has to be formatted, like the margin, the font, the spacing between the lines, all that. Then tables and illustrations which you will find as part of your writing. Running head with page numbers. Running head means the title you find on every page. Usually it is repeated every page. Then plagiarism and academic integrity, which we will see in detail later. Then placement of the list of works cited or reference, that is insight or work cited. Then regarding paper and printing, margins, heading and title, electronic submission, that is submission through online, then corrections and insertions on printouts. Now after printout, if you want to insert something, how it has to be done, or if there are corrections, and also binding a printed paper, what kind of binding has to be there. Next we come to the second style, that is APA style, and the full form is American Psychological Association. So this style is developed by these people. This style is mostly used in scientific writing, whereas MLA style is used for literary writing. Academic writings, which include empirical studies, literature review, case studies, and theoretical and methodological articles, also use APA style. We will see what are these three or two or three terms really mean on the next page. First we will see what is empirical studies. Empirical study means studies based on observation and experience rather than theory. So here we are actually able to observe and experiment your study. Almost all the sciences are empirical studies, because you can observe them, you can see them, rather than just assuming or assumptions which is based on theory and all that. Then what is methodological articles? Actually, they are techniques and strategies employed within a discipline to manipulate data and acquire knowledge. So within a particular discipline, how you have to go about doing your research and how your data has to be collected. That's actually meant by method or methodological article. And research methods used by an investigator, how he went about his research. So this kind of articles are about the experience of a research person, how he actually carried out his research, what is the method he used. Such kind of writing is called methodological articles. Different sections of an APA style paper are title page, abstract. Abstract means summary of a research paper. Then introduction, method employed, then results. What are the results you got as a consequence of your study? Then discussions regarding the topic. Then references, that is for the external sources you are dependent on, and also appendices, that is supplementary material at the end of the writing. As in MLA style, there are specific instructions in APA style with regard to text formatting, like line spacing and margins, page numbers and page headers. So they are given specific instructions regarding text formatting. What kind of font should be used, what is the line spacing, margins, all that. So in APA style, they insist on double spacing the entire manuscript and using Times New Roman font for text and also Arial font for tables. Okay, now we come to the second topic, that is academic integrity. What is academic integrity? In general terms, integrity means it is part of a person's character. That means a person of integrity, he does what he says. There is no gap between his words and actions. So just like every person need to follow certain values and moral codes in their life, even in writing we need to follow certain code of conduct. That is what is meant by academic integrity. So values related to academic integrity actively promote ethics of writing. So academic integrity actually refers to ethics of writing. The notion of academic integrity examines different forms of academic dishonesty. So we can be very dishonest in our writing, that is stealing from somebody's sources. So that term is known as plagiarism. Plagiarism poses a threat to maintaining academic integrity. So whenever you are indulging in plagiarism, you are not being honest about your writing. An academic writer can keep academic integrity by citing his or her sources properly and also by avoiding plagiarism. So how can we keep academic integrity? It is only by acknowledging or citing the sources that you have referred. Plagiarism is a literary theft. It occurs when a writer copies another person's text or ideas and calls the work his or her own without giving credit to the source of the copied text. So that is the definition of plagiarism. It is a literary theft. You are stealing somebody's ideas or writings without acknowledging it. If you are acknowledging, of course, you are honest about it. Now we come to the last part, the third topic, that is proofreading. The process of proofreading. What are the steps? The process of reading your drafts repeatedly for mistakes after you finish writing. So after writing or drafting, you have to go through the whole draft and then revise it 3 or 4 times. In this process of editing and rewriting, certain words can be added or omitted if necessary. So, here you are revising means actually you are editing, trying to find your mistakes and rectify them. So, if you find certain words are not suitable there, we can replace them with better words. Then what are the things that we have to take notice of in proofreading? They are actually regarding grammar, vocabulary, spelling, sentence structure and also format of the text. First, regarding spelling, how can you check spelling? Of course, you can use a dictionary. Otherwise, in our laptop itself, we have got what do you call spell check function. We can also use that. Next, sentences. We have check the sentences for fragments, sentence variety, whether we are using different types of sentence like simple, compound, complex and all that. Then regarding subject verb agreement, if there are any mistakes or errors. Then parallelism, wordiness, if there are too many words to express, try to avoid them. Or run on sentences, when we have two independent clauses which are connected wrongly. And also choppy sentences, very short sentences. Then dangling modifiers. Let's see what is a dangling modifier. Here the example, having finished the assignment, the TV was turned on. Here you find main part of the sentence is missing. The subject is missing. We don't know who did it. So here we are supposed to add the subject. Only when we add I, the sentence looks correct. So it has to be changed into having finished the assignment, I turned the TV on. Only then the sentence will look correct. And also you see the punctuation marks are placed properly. Next we see style and also documentation. We have to ensure that we have consistency of style, whether we have used a particular style throughout. And also you check if the documentation is done correctly, that is acknowledging the materials borrowed, and also plagiarism, whether we have acknowledged the sources and try to avoid literary theft. And we can also make use of tools online. We have got online tools for checking plagiarism. If there are sources which are not acknowledged, it will show you that in red. That means wherever you have red sentences, that means there is plagiarism. Then coming to paragraph, we have to check body paragraphs, then topic sentences, that is a thesis statement, substantiation, that means whether you have provided enough evidences or explanations for your argument or topic sentences. Then transition signals or discourse markers, whether we have used them properly. Next, thesis statement. This is very important because that is the backbone of your writing. Here check if you have carried forward your thesis statement from the introduction through the body paragraph to the conclusion. So this thesis statement has to be there throughout your writing. You can't leave it out. This is what gives the main thrust of your writing. So you have to check that it is there throughout your writing, in every body paragraph, introduction and also in the conclusion. because the success of an academic paper depends on effective presentation of the thesis using evidences and explanation. So, this is very important. It is not enough that you make a thesis statement and write some irrelevant matter. All your sentences should be supporting your thesis statement. That means there should be coherence and there should be a kind of logical order throughout. So, that is the meaning of substantiation, giving evidences and also explanation to your thesis statement. And then you have to see the introduction and conclusion are both properly done. So, with all that, we have checked our material thoroughly, and then we can go to the final draft before submission. With that, we have come to the end of unit 6. Next class we will be starting with the revision of unit 8. Until then, it's a goodbye. Thank you.